Restoring Vintage Airstream Letters, Part 2.
Alright, so this is the finished result. Well, I say finished, but it's really about 95% there. I have a little bit of cleanup to do on these outside letters where some overspray occurred, but some of the isopropyl alcohol will get that right off. This is pretty much as good as it gets. I mean, you can see I still have some holes there, but once I get the hanger bolts in there, I should be able to patch that up without too much difficulty. Yeah, I mean, this is good enough to look still true to the vintage original lettering. I used the Royal Blue by Rustoleum, like I said, so there's a very, very slight color variation. What I'm going to do in order to tape this is I'm going to make sure that I have enough to cover this end. And you don't have to use quite such a big piece of tape as I just did there. But yeah, you want to make sure that you cover all of this. And the reason you want to do that is because you want to eliminate overspray. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get the other end here, and I'm going to repeat that process. Just do the same thing and fold that over there so that, once again, you don't have that overspray. So yeah, that's what I'm left with here. Now to some people that may seem like overkill, but the more time that you spend doing tape off, the better your project's gonna look, okay? So the next thing you wanna do, once you know that you've got every corner possible covered, is you're gonna go through with your finger and you're gonna start finding the outline. If you can see it, you'll be a lot more successful at cutting it out, right? Okay. So now you can see what we're working with. You see exactly where you need to cut it. I'm using the knife project set that I got from the dollar store for $7. It's from Art Skills. It's like a cheapo knife set. I'm using that to cut out. I'm gonna use this one, a regular razor blade, just you know, not with the tool, but just the razor blade itself. If you can handle that carefully, that works just as good, in my opinion. But I'm going to go ahead and show you guys how I do this on the camera. And as you can see, I've already found where I need to cut, right? So I'm going to come through, I'm going to puncture, and I'm going to cut. I'm going to go all the way. I'm going to follow through. You guys may not be able to see that very well, but there it is. All right, now I'm going to keep doing that all the way down, making sure that I'm not cutting towards myself, I'm cutting away. I'm going to tuck your little fingies out of the way so you don't get hurt. I'm going to finish this off camera, and then I'll show you guys when it's done. All right. So now that I have it pretty much free, start to just gently lift. And normally you wouldn't have to be as careful as I'm being right now because, as you can see, I have already painted this. But yeah, you don't have to worry about that if it's your first pass through. And yeah, you're just gonna start lifting, and anywhere where you see that it's kind of sticking like that, you just go through, free that real quick. And I recommend using a sharp blade for this. If you were using one that's a bit more used and duller, go sharpen it, or you know, get a sharper one, because it's one of those things that, like, the more detail you have in it, the more attention you pay to those little details, the better off it's gonna be. And you know, even I'm not perfect at this process, but I would say, judging from how good mine turned out, that it was certainly enough to get the job done. And you know, sometimes you'll get, once you take the tape off, you might still see a little bit of overspray, and that's totally normal. It's fine. Now, I'd say that's pretty good. There's looks like a little bit of a separate little tunnel here. This is where you got to be careful, because especially for me, I don't want to, if you're doing this when you've already painted the first layer on and you're going to do a second layer because you don't like something or just want to touch it up, just don't cut into the paint you've already done. And if it's not been painted yet, then it's not something you really have to worry about, but like you can see, it's just kind of a consideration I have to take here. So yeah, so that looks pretty good. And then the only thing left is this little corner right here. Try to get the razor as close to this line. You don't want to, you know, wind up with 100 little bumps everywhere. But for the purposes of getting this project done, this works just fine. And like anywhere where you see that it might prevent the spray from evenly traveling, this is the next step. You just go in and clean that up. So like right here, as you can see, a little bit of something there. I don't want it there, so yep. So I just press it down here, and yeah, so that's what you should wind up with. You should wind up with a nice cover, and then this you're gonna take and you're gonna spray it with that royal blue. And then when it's done, you can go ahead and you can just take it off, and this is what you'll be left with when you finish. And just peel it back, peel it back, peel it back. Sometimes you might have to turn it the other way, flip it, what have you. And you're just going to work that tape back off. Pretty much just taking it off. And if you find that there's some tape that you can't get very easily, like I'm having trouble getting that little one right there, you can always grab your razor and lift it up with the razor. You don't have to cut it out or anything, but you just want to try to lift that up pretty gently. And that's what you should be left with. You might get a little bit of overspray, like you can see I've got right there. Once you peel all that back, don't be surprised if you see like a little here or a little here, whatever. That's what that isopropyl alcohol is for. You just get your little Q-tip or a cotton ball. Make sure that this is completely dry, so leave it, you know, at least 4 to 6 hours. I recommend leaving it 12 hours, honestly, if you're not in any kind of rush. And then just clean that with the isopropyl alcohol, and then you'll wind up with this. But that's how I did it. And like I said, you don't have to have all these fancy tools just to see. I did a couple of my Airstream letters with the razor blade, just the regular utility box blades that come with like the knife sets from Irwin, and it works just exactly the same, if not even a little better, honestly. So that's what you should wind up with, and that's how I got these letters. So stay tuned for the next video. Hopefully that helps you guys.